Dear friend, welcome. Let's take this moment to spend a little time in reviewing an interview with CNN's Erin Burnett and one Barrett Blade, who was the husband and I guess co-star of one Stormy Daniels, Clifford, whatever her name is, her real name is Stephanie Clifford or whatever. He, by the way, Barrett Blade. These names are so good. He was born Russell Barrett, but my favorite one of his prior nom de plumes is Barrett Bangwell, which is good. Listen, I've got no problem with people who want to live in this debauched lifestyle. I don't particularly care. But let's jump into this without further ado and review the interview with one Erin Burnett and Mr. Bangwell. Let me see. Here we go.
So Barrett, I really appreciate your time and you're choosing, you and Stormy choosing for you to speak now. I mean, Stormy spent more than 7 hours on the stand. She was there for over 2 days. Obviously, it's the first time she was face to face with Trump since 2007. And, I was in that room. I mean, they're only 10 or 15 feet apart for those hours and hours. How does she feel now that her testimony is behind her?
Behind her. I'm going to let that go.
I mean, I don't think she feels any differently, maybe a little relief to not have to be stressed about going in there. But I think she feels the same way she always has felt about it.
Why are we even talking to this man? The reason why is because he says, as you can see from the bottom of this, he says that they're going to be leaving. They're going to be leaving. They are on their way through leaving this country in the event that Trump is acquitted. This was a promise, and I hope to put it in writing.
And on that, this process, it has taken a long time. So when you just talk about the stress of that.
It's taken a long time because it's happened a long time ago. Let's don't forget this. This is not this victim, this woman who has been trying to seek justice up till now. Not at all. She's been making money hand over fist. She is not a victim. So what Erin Burnett does is she slithers in and slides into the court proceeding as a plaintiff, as a necessary witness versus a victim.
Moment. I mean, the preparation, the intense preparation, then the waiting and the delays of the trial, then actually having to come testify. To actually get on a plane and come and do it. How much stress did all that put on her with everything else in her life?
She's a porn star.
Well, she just wants to get on with her life, and the fact that it keeps coming back over and over and over.
She wants to get on with her life and milk this, pardon the term, for everything she can get.
Creates a lot of stress. I think that, to have to relive these moments over.
To relive these moments. Doesn't see now? Watch how this blends and how insulting this would be to somebody who I think is really an actual sex sexual battery victim, an actual sexual crime victim. This was all consensual. Notwithstanding her recollections of having been knocked out or passed out.
As much as it's boring for the media to keep hearing it over and over again, it sucks for her to have to keep saying the same ththing over and over and over.
It sucks for her. Let it go.
Over again. It wears on her. But
look at this picture, by the way. Can you see the picture that is on the screen while this school marm with the assistant principal glasses is seen off? By the way, where did he get these courtroom artists? Maybe if they use their other hand, maybe that might help.
She's a warrior, and I think.
Don't say you're a warrior. Look at that punham, huh? Look at that, huh? Is that they went out of their way to glam her up?
She needed to get her final say so that she can move on with her life.
And you have been by her side, as I said, throughout all of this for so.
She's in by her side because basically these are two parasites leeching off of each other. The whole world is parasitic. They've been by her side, on her side, in his side. Listen, I don't want to in any way suggest to you, I have nothing but contempt for people who are adult porn stars. I'm sorry. I consider it to be just the lowest form. Nothing wrong with sex. We're not talking about sex. We're talking about people who bastardize it and commercialize it. That's all. Call me old-fashioned.
Many years. As you know, when she did testify, the defense then tried to tear her apart. It was a purposefully denigrating cross-examination,
Purposefully denigrating. Interesting. That's called cross-examination and impeachment.
Oh, you could hear it in the voice of the attorney. What was it like for you as Stormy's husband to hear all of that?
This is the man who has watched his wife stooped by football teams in terms of numbers over his life. This man who holds his wife in such esteem, to see her after being pile drived for years, that's not a problem. But this courtroom proceeding, which, by the way, both of them are hoping to God it does nothing but sell more porn, more smut, more personal appearances. How did that make you feel? He's hearing ka-ching, ka-ching.
I mean, look, I'm used to hearing all the kind of hate. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so.
Doesn't he look like the devil? Seriously. The way we think the devil is. And look at Erin Burnett. Erin's thinking, what am I doing? I'm interviewing Barrett Bangwell.
But for her, she's so experienced with it right now. It doesn't bother me as much as she'll tell you, like, Twitter's her favorite sport. So she's kind of used to all of this. I think she was probably more prepared than anything for those type of comments, because that's kind of what she gets all the time from Twitter and from all her social media. So I think,
look at them at Stonehenge. Look, you know what he's whispering to her? What are these things? Why are we here?
I think that almost helped prepare her. All the negative hate and all the negative comments.
Look lustful. Look like you're in love. Look normal. Ready, action.
But for me personally, I don't really follow. I don't really get on all the.
Well, they do travel. That's good. Was this Venice? That is. It's good.
Social media and all the hate and all the tweets and all that stuff. So for me personally, it doesn't.
Tattoos, just, you know how I feel about that.
Doesn't really affect me unless it affects her. If she comes back and something hurts her, then that's when it bothers me.
They are quite the international travelers. What's that Machu Picchu or whatever?
I mentioned the tone of the defense cross-examination, Barrett. And, they did.
Can you believe how many pictures they have? Did they just basically empty their entire Instagram
repeatedly try to shame her? And shame her career specifically. Yeah. There's just one exchange. I had written it down when I was in the room, but the Trump's lawyer says, you've acted in porn in 21 sex films, right?
Right.
And Stormy replies, including compilations. Lawyer says, and you've also written and directed 150 sex films, you said in your direct. Is that correct? And Stormy replies, give or take.
Yeah.
And the lawyer says, and so this was your career for over 20 years, writing, acting, and directing sex films, right? Stormy says, yes. And then the lawyer says, Barrett, so you have a lot of experience in making phony stories about sex appear to be real, right? And I'm emphasizing the words here because there was a lot of tone in it. And Stormy stops and says, wow. And then she sort of laughs and she goes, that's not how I would put it. The sex in the films, it's very much real, just like what happened to me in that room.
Now, remember, let me just stop you right there. That was actually a very good retort, a good riposte, as it were. Remember what she's there for. She is there for no other reason than to smear President Trump. She is unnecessary to establish basically any of the foundations involving what he is charged with, namely that he was involved in some type of falsified business records. That's what this is, and that he manifested the intent to provide such, and that the fraudulent intent to fraudulently provide was intended to fraudulently conceal something which would normally not be concealed or is against the law, which doesn't exist in New York state law regarding elections. So that being said, you don't need her for this. The subject matter of the NDA is not important. Why there was a subject matter, why there was an NDA, none of it mattered. None of it. That's the thing. She is not required for this. To provide the foundation of the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement, the quote hush money. It doesn't matter what it was, whether it was sex, whether it was because they Trump was just disgusted by having been seen with a porn star, it doesn't matter. NDAs are signed all the time.
You know, what do you hear there? I mean, the tone of the questions was purposefully denigrating about everything Stormy did, about her life and about her career.
You phoebe. This is called cross-examination, designed to affect and impugn and lessen her integrity, or excuse me, her credibility among the trier of fact, or before the trier of fact.
What does Stormy think about the way those questions were asked?
I mean, once again, I think, the career that we chose early on, she's been getting that since she started doing porn. She's kind of used to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is Barrett Bangwell, ladies and gentlemen.
People are trying to slut shame her since day one.
Slut shame. No, I don't think slut. No.
And she's proud of what she does. She does not think that sex is a negative thing.
She's proud of what she does. She makes herself available. I believe she has a daughter too. She makes herself available to be banged well by Mr. Bangwell on film, on tape, recorded. She's proud of that. This is a source of great pride. Not everybody can do this. Not everybody can have sex. Notwithstanding the fact that there's an overpopulation problem, apparently humans have been able to master that some time back quite well.
Sex shouldn't be looked at as such a forbidden taboo.
It's not sex.
It's a very American thing to think that way. And as far as the comments, I mean, I think she's dead on. I don't think she's ashamed of all of it. And I agree. I think she's a brilliant writer. So any of that stuff that these phony sex, she would have written something way better than what she said about the Trump story.
I mean, she did come back very quickly there when she said, that's not how I would put it. The sex in the films, it's very much real, just like what happened to me in that room. Right. I mean, she didn't take a second to even pause to say that. She had
unprotected, transitory, missionary sex. So what?
Yeah, and I think there's a comment afterwards about, that she made up this story just like she writes her stories in her movies, something like that. And she said, no, I would have written it a lot better. And I agree. She's a brilliant writer. She would have wrote it a lot more entertaining and with a lot better person, I would imagine.
She did absolutely say that. So Barrett, when you and Stormy have had a chance to talk about this since she testified,
I hope I can get through
this. Have you discussed what happens when you talk about her trying to get on with her life?
Yes.
If Trump is found not guilty?
Here we go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If Trump is found not guilty, I think there's either way, I don't think it gets better for her. I think if it's not guilty, we got to decide what to do. Good chance we'll probably vacate this country. If he is found guilty, that she's still gonna have to deal with all the hate that feel like she's the reason that he's guilty from all of his followers.
No.
So I don't see it as a win situation either way. I know that
Mr. Bangwell,
we would like to get on with our lives. I know that she wants to move past this. We just want to do what I guess you would say normal people get to do, like in porn. Some aspects.
Have sex with,
but I don't know if that ever will be
anonymous people.
And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. Some of the things that she has to go through that people don't realize. I guess, for example, everybody has their agenda for her at this point, and
yeah,
I don't see people fighting back for her. For instance,
fighting back.
E.G. and Carroll, although we're super happy that everything that happened for her happened.
Yeah.
Stormy opened the door, but Stormy got sued for the exact same two comments, and she ended up getting legal fees she's got to pay for, but no one wants to help her with that. Or the women's groups, she fights for women's groups all day long. And
she fights for women's groups. But you know what? To be honest with you, we're gonna have to go back and look at that. You remember she sued him for defamation, loss, and then had to pay his legal fees. That's interesting. You know what? Mr. Bangwell may be onto something there. To be fair, we'll kind of look into that one. That's very interesting.
I don't see anyone doing GoFundMe's to try to help with her legal fees and to help her out. And Michael Avenatti, he did a GoFundMe to try to help her, and then he ended up stealing all her money.
That's true.
It just, there's a list that goes on
That's
and
true.
on and on and on. And she donated to the hurricane relief in Louisiana. She has all these great things, and no one comes back and helps her out. So
Helps her out with what?
that's the biggest heartbreak, I think, out of everything that's going on right now, is that she's fighting for everybody and no one's
Fighting for
her. And
everybody.
That's what makes me the most
Now
upset
she's
about
Joan of
all
Arc.
this situation.
You know, when you talk about wanting to get on with your life, and that, you know, if he's found not guilty, that you may be forced to leave the country. I mean, just the disruption to your entire life.
Well, you know what?
Life
They are quite the travelers. They can go to Machu Picchu if that's indeed what that was.
Her life.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I just wanted to show some of the pictures that you shared of her and you, because you have known each other for 25 years, and obviously you're married now. She shared one of us with us of you teaching her daughter how to put in contact lenses. And a moment from your honeymoon where you're dancing to your wedding song, right? Something that almost everybody does. And
I don't, you know, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm pretty good at this. I've seen murder, you know, autopsies and things, and I had no problem, even with the smell. But this, no. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend, Mr. Bangwell, you know, I'm going to say something to you. I don't think these are bad people. Bad. I don't think they're inherently bad people. I think they're vile. I think they have no class. I think they are into slut shame. Most people who are quote sluts really aren't. This is the slattern, the meretrix, the prostitute, a woman who has had sex for money. And I don't know what, and you may call that a sex work or whatever it is. All I'm saying is this: to me, unless you are the product, as in most cases of sex workers, believe it or not, who are forced by virtue of coercion or whatever to engage in this particular behavior, I don't think there's anything to be proud about that in the least. That notwithstanding, my friends, I think what we're looking at is something here which is bigger. This is one of the reasons, one of the pieces they will use to explain why Trump is reelected, because Americans are so disgusted by this, in addition to Mr. Bangwell's thoughts on the subject. We're also finding out that in retrospect, this has turned into such a circus, and it's been so transparent. Remember, all of this could have been stipulated to. Every single thing regarding Stormy Daniels could have been stipulated to, could have been just agreed to by virtue of just an agreement where we're not going to put this woman on. The issue is going to be the non-disclosure agreement, not the subject matter of the non-disclosure agreement. Non-disclosure agreement could be for anything. You're right. We're going to, let's say, sever your employment. We're going to sign this, and you have a non-disparagement clause or a non-disclosure agreement regarding certain things you've learned, trade secrets or whatever. It's done all the time. People will settle personal injury actions and the like constantly by agreeing not to disclose the terms of the settlement. So in any event, dear friends, thank you so much for watching. I really want to know what your thoughts are. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like this video. Please, we need and appreciate so much your demos and your algorithmic likes, because it really helps us tremendously. We are growing by leaps and bounds thanks to your good graces and your kindness. So please, I want to see, what do you think about this? Please, in the section be coming up, a comment as you see.